Space. The final frontier. These are the case files of the starship Hardy Boys. Its continuing mission: to explore strange new mysteries, to seek out new crooks in criminal organizations, to boldly make out with as many girls as possible. Cue the theme music.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
Mission Mayhem was written by Rick Oliver in 1994. The premise of the book is that the Hardy Boys are in Huntsville, Alabama. They're going to get college credit by attending Space Academy. Needless to say, the entire thing was Frank's idea. Nerd! The group's counselor is an angry man named Steve Swain. Swain used to be an astronaut, but he was recently fired because his blood pressure levels weren't right. Now he has to watch teenagers for a living. If I were him, I'd be angry too. The book's female lead is Maria Galuski, the super intense man-hater. She constantly competes with Frank for the title of biggest space nerd. Also in the group is Other Girl, Other Boy, and Greg Fontana, star of the hit TV show Family Troubles. Sadly, whenever things go wrong in this book, Greg does not ask, "Did I do that?" The first night, someone sets the boys' room on fire. It looks like our heroes are going to die for a moment, until Greg gets a fire extinguisher. Greg celebrates by throwing a press conference so he can brag about what a great hero he is. Nice guy, that Greg. One of the reporters at the press conference is Mike Barron. Frank and Joe immediately latch onto him because he's plot-related. The group tries out the zero-gravity wall. Greg asks to switch harnesses with Joe. Shortly after this, Joe's harness falls apart and he almost falls to his death. Greg saves Joe, and he immediately throws himself a second press conference. Basically, Greg throws himself a press conference every time he does something impressive, like save somebody's life or make nachos. The Hardys do some minor investigation. The fire was started with flammable liquid, and the harness was sabotaged with a scrap of cloth in the locking mechanism. Greg gets super sarcastic about how the Hardys are wannabe detectives. He must not know that they've solved several hundred mysteries by now. Mike Barron drops a 10-pound camera and almost kills Greg, so the Hardys look into Barron for a while. Barron's little sister used to be on the same TV show as Greg, but Greg had her kicked off because he doesn't like to share the spotlight. Barron is still very upset about this. Me, I'm upset about Joe's vaguely racist comment against the Chinese using chopsticks. If I was the editor, I would have removed that. On a test mission, the giant robot arm goes out of control and tries to kill Frank. Swain refuses to let anybody see what's wrong with the machine, so the Hardys break into his office. They find a bunch of evidence that proves Swain is guilty, and he is promptly fired. "Well, Joe, we caught the culprit and solved the mystery." "I have a feeling this case isn't over yet, Frank." "Why's that?" "We're only on page 88. There are over 60 pages left." Frank and Maria try the multi-axis trainer, which is the machine on the cover that's designed to make you feel disoriented. Maria purposely pretends the machine is broken and lets Frank go for several minutes at top speed, because she wants to see how well he does when he thinks his life is in danger. "You're sick, Maria." Speaking of being sick, Joe goes into pervert mode and breaks into the girls' sleeping quarters. He goes through most of their stuff, but he doesn't find any evidence. Someone should tell Joe's girlfriend about this. The culprit tries to scare the Hardy Boys off the case with an exploding computer screen and a car bomb, but the culprit accidentally reveals their identity when they pretend to be Barron on the phone. Only one person can do an impersonation that perfectly: Greg, the professional actor. Greg appears with a gun. Frank alternates between begging Greg not to shoot anybody and making sarcastic jokes. It was actually hilarious, kind of. Joe attacks Greg with the robot arm, and Frank disarms Greg with a judo throw. "Greg, looks like your show just got cancelled." The end. Post-book follow-up. Hardy Boys fans think this book was written for the regular series, not the older, more mature Casefiles series. Why? Well, for one thing, the only crime in this book is sabotage, sabotage, and more sabotage. For another thing, Maria is a normal girl, she's not a super hottie, and she doesn't have romantic scenes with either Hardy. Does that sound like a Casefiles book to you? No. I don't have much to say about this book. Astronaut things can be interesting, but not when it's mostly physics lectures and complicated machinery. There wasn't much intrigue, mainly because the culprit's motive was unclear. Basically, the culprit just wanted to screw things up with a series of non-fatal accidents. Nobody was ever in any real danger. Except for the car bomb towards the end, where the culprit mistakenly made the explosive too big. Overall, this book is slightly below average. I wouldn't go so far to say it's bad, it's more formulaic than anything else. I agree that it seems to be more in line with the younger series, not the Casefiles. I couldn't decide whether to give this book a 4 or a 5, so I give Hardy Boys Casefiles number 93, Mission Mayhem, a 4.5 out of 10.